great strength, but at the same time you're blind. And blindness is a great and fatal weakness.
What do you mean?
Look, blind energy just errs and stumbles all over the place, and the more powerful it is, the more inevitable and serious are the blunders. You suffer from an enormous lack of the critical sense without which it is impossible to evaluate people and situations and to reconcile means with ends. This was clearly demonstrated in the Carnage film. Look, I've tried to tell you before, when that was an individual effort to try to abolish automobiles. You can't do it. You've got to meet with people, join groups, work collaboratively.
Oh, come on, let's just go to the movie. I learned yesterday, Lindsay, you might think me behind the times, but I learned yesterday that the US, which contains 5.7% of the world's population, consumes 40% of the world's natural resources.
Let's just go to the movies, Tim.
Controls on a war footing. The mass media of
la industria, porque ya con los industriales ya nosotros no podemos seguir trabajando.
Hoy día ya han salido más de 400, estos 938 han salido más de 300, así que ya se está normalizando todo esto.
Place to stay, decent, you know, just live like you probably live or somebody else, you know. I just want to live and make it. You know, I don't want to ask somebody for no handout. I want to be able to pay my own doctor bill and stuff like this, my own dental bills. I want to be able to pay for my money with cash. I don't want your food stamps. I don't want your welfare. I just want my money, the money I work for, the money I earn.
Ed Brown is one of New Orleans.
To work out yours. And you cannot work it out by pointing your fingers at people. I have ate out of your garbage cans to stay out of jail. I have worn your second-hand clothes. I have given everything. I have accepted things and given them away the next second. I have done my best to get along in your world, and now you want to kill me. And I look at you and I look how incompetent you all are. And then I say to myself, you want to kill me? Huh? I'm already dead. Have been all my life. I've lived in your tomb that you built. I did 7 years for a $37 cheque. I did 12 years because I didn't have any parents. And how many other sons do you think you have in there? You have many sons in there, many sons in there. Most of them are black and they are angry, they are mad, and they are mad at me. I look and I say, why are you mad at me? He said, I am mad at you because of what your father did. And I look at him and I say, well, and I look at my fathers and I say, if there was ever a devil on the face of this earth, I am him.
In Europe, that communism is now finding adherents. One has to say this is a moral problem and not a material problem.
Papel aluminio lusa. 4 resuelvo.
That night, the chiefs of the fascist...
Hey, Tim, the coup of the 1st of September was a defeat of historic proportions for the Chilean working class. Firstly, because they couldn't believe that they could achieve their historical objective, the construction of socialism, by peaceful electoral means. Years are going to go past before the Chilean workers, who haven't made a single attempt at insurrection this century, build a new consciousness and understand that those ends can only be achieved through insurrection. And secondly, because the finest combatants in the Chilean working class have either...
Say no more. Are you ready?
Destruction, that's what's wanted.
Yeah. Well, we've got to... there's no question that we've got to smash in some way the structure at the moment and blow it to pieces, right?
Right. I just want to hear you say the word hatred.
Hatred.
I think he's coming now. I think this is it. This is the big one.
Well, we've blown it once. This time round, maybe it, huh? You're right. It's certainly going to be better, I think.
The people have triumphed. We've killed him. We've killed him. We've killed him. We've killed him. It's us who've killed him.
What do you mean?
We've killed him.
So what the hell's she doing?
No, I'm all right, honey. I just need to take my pressure, take anything that I am not taking my food.
File number 07946. General heading X magazine. Individual heading Smith, Lindsay. Age 35 years. Nationality Australian. Status registered alien. Social security number 530214326. Marital status single, separated. Religion anti-religious. Distinguishing features starter 2 left hand, Indian to 2 right hand. Class origins working class Australia. Education high school Australia College. UCLA Santa Barbara BA Theatre. See accompanying file FBI Surveillance 1967 and general file kept up to date. Note medical file UCLA attached. Profession theatrical director. Income uncertain. Poverty level. Comments. Work has always been anti-establishment, anti-government, generally subversive. Politics leftist. However, because considered avant-garde, his effect has been limited. Very strong collective participation in Australia. Associated with Pram Factory, Australian Performing Group. Propaganda ability. High, but because of our successful alienation of the artist through selective incentive program, has not met with the success his ability warrants. Strong directorial ability with large groups. Conclusion. At this time, however, considering the international movement of the left toward terrorist activities, and in light of publicity and sympathy for such actions within the USA, and considering the subject's present associations and potential, we recommend that this file be given over to the Medical Tests and Experiments Department of Columbia University under Dr. J.H. Harold. who is Director of Cellular Control, presently working on disease as a specific political weapon.
Après tout, on ne peut jamais libérer les mêmes du dogmatisme que ceux qui existent. Et
Pas comme une œuvre littéraire, un dessin ou une broderie, à laquelle une classe renverse une autre.
Hey, Lindsay, don't turn around, but there's a guy behind us, and he's been watching us all day. I've seen him a couple of times before today. He's 2 rows behind, slightly to the left. Listen, don't look around, but leave in a couple of minutes and try and lose him, or we'll split up, see who he's following, and I'll meet you later at CBGB's.
Et d'abord, quelques faits, puisque la...
Propaganda ability, high, but because of our successful alienation of the artist through selective incentive programs, has not met with the success its ability warrants. Strong directorial ability with large groups. Conclusion. At this time, however, considering the international movement of the left toward terrorist activities, and in light of publicity and sympathy for such actions within the USA, and considering the subject's present associations and potential, we recommend that this file be given over to the Medical Tests and Experiments Department of Columbia University under Dr. J.H. Harold, who is Director of Cellular Control, presently working on disease as a specific political weapon.
I hope it provokes that people come out and are pro-gay and sexual. I think there's nothing wrong in being provocative that way. If you make a very strong statement and they play with fascistic things, and sure, that's awful, but at the same time they're so obvious and direct and aggressive about it that you have to react, because it disturbs your middle class and liberal thinking, and that's very important, to disturb your moralistic liberal outfit and put you in a corner and react violently, like they are violent.
So you see the fascination with the fascist image?
Yeah, but fascist not in... Real fascism is middle-class liberal. That's fascism. It's not fascism to put on the symbols of fascism and be very extreme. Fascism was never extreme early. It turned out to be, but the dangerous thing is it starts out as anti-fascism. All sorts of fascist movements and wars have always been very moralistic, telling people that they have to fight for the good and for morals, but they never say you will fight for evil. Fighting for evil is something nobody can accept. You can't win with that one. You can provoke people and make them think.
Have you seen Lindsay tonight?
No, I think he's gone to score on the Lower East Side. I saw him a while ago.
Oh, Jesus, we were supposed to meet here. He's trying to... I was sure it was
The distinction between them and us being very carefully defined.
Where do I draw the distinction between me and you? Us and them and them. Us and them and them and them and us and them.
Legalize murder.
We can take care of ourselves, so what is it is who we kill on film, them or us.
A matter of identification.
Providing an alternative, joining the group. We feel safer in numbers, naturally. We also cling to our individual identities. The clash of interests is dynamic.
So we adopt and adapt the archetypes according to our own interests, collective, individual.
Any declaration of belief is propaganda.
Singing that? Huh? Oh, beautiful. It's okay.
Auspicious skies. For amber waves playing. For purple mountains. Majesty. Above the fruit plains. America.
Did you bring the splicer? We're going to go down a Spring Street and then across to the Bowery and to CBGB's.
God, my foot feels like I could hardly walk. I was limping down the stairs.
Slimy Screams, what's this play for? Just for the movie called.
What's this called?
Yeah. And everyone's going to hear what I'm saying right now.
Snows are crippling train service in the area. Hardest hit appears to be the Long Island Railroad. Right now, all service east and westbound is being held up at Jamaica Station due to 12 trains that are stalled at various points. The railroad has abandoned its regular schedule as some trains are more than 4 hours late. Amtrak service is running about 30 minutes late. The storm has inconvenienced everyone from commuter to senator.
She didn't hear you. she didn't hear you.
Although Eastern is booking its flights for tomorrow, if you plan to fly, call the carrier to be sure it will have planes at LaGuardia for regularly scheduled flights. Some were determined they'd leave tomorrow.
Going out here again tomorrow?
I'm not going to Wheel. I'm going to stay and sleep here.
You are? Where are you going to sleep?
Right here.
Eastern Airlines says its customers have been surprisingly pleasant about this whole mess because they realize that it really is nobody's fault except for the guy upstairs.
Elsewhere in Queens, in College Point, people are worrying about just traveling from their homes to the supermarket.
Because of a snow-related accident, but when he finally arrived at the City Transportation Administration's Communication Center, he was in good spirits, declaring Transportation Commissioner Tony Amoruso the best of all his commissioners. You may recall that Amoruso was labeled incompetent for the job by a screen.
Doesn't fit in there.
No.
Come right in place now, with the egg.
So the sun is here.
Keep going. Keep
This is the image, all right?
Immunity. An abnormal, injurious reaction by the body to one of its own tissues. An important part of the body's natural defenses against microbes is the development of immunity. The body forms a specific antidote, an antibody. Which combines chemically with the invader and puts it out of action. The antibody is tailor-made to deal with a particular foreign substance, some part of the microbe, known as the antigen. The reaction between antigen and antibody not only kills the microbe, it also does some damage to the body itself. Some of the systems of infection are due not to the infecting microbes, but to the immune response, the effects of the patient's own antibodies. It's a fair price to pay for overcoming the infection. One does not believe the fire brigade has to break down a few doors in order to save the house. Some people form antibodies against pollen, for instance, and if they inhale a few grains of this innocent matter, they react as healthy people would react to bacteria, paying the same price to no purpose. In recent years, it has been shown that certain diseases are caused by antibodies formed against some normal component of the patient's own tissues. Here, the antigen is not a foreign substance at all, but part of the body. Such antigens are called autoantigens. The antibodies formed against them are autoantibodies, and the harmful reaction between them is autoimmunity. The response to infection is like what happens when a wasp enters a beehive. The wasp is stung to death, but an unlucky bee damages or kills himself in the process. It is worth a few casualties to keep the hive free of invaders. But if a bee were to kill herself, stinging a petal blown into the hive, that would be a futile sacrifice, like allergy. Autoimmunity is like civil war, with bees stinging other members of the hive.
That would be a futile sacrifice, like allergy.
The characteristic of all these diseases is inflammation or gradual destruction of a particular type of tissue in the absence of infection or other known cause. Careful consideration of our ability to control those chemical aspects of this natural metabolic process must be followed by projection of the effects upon the present social situation. As effectively as an imbalance of cells can be stabilized within the individual's body, as in the case of Lindsay Smith, it can also be expanded to encompass all elements of society that exist as obstacles to our economic well-being.
Shoot. In its own right, symptoms ascribed to anemia are often due to the underlying disorder which is causing the anemia. Anemia may be due either to abnormal loss of hemoglobin or destructive production. The types to be considered are an inefficient, looks pale and may suffer headache, slight fever and physical weakness. But anemia in itself is only a symptom and not a disease.
There's a possibility that he said that it was this venereal.
What?
Lymphogranuloma venereum. A venereal disease causing enlargement of lymph nodes in the groins and thickening, sometimes ulceration, of the surrounding skin.
You sure about that? I thought it was something else.
Well, this is what Michael had, and...
Wasn't it something to do with the possibility of the needle infecting?
Yeah, well, that's the other theory, is an infection from the needle, but Michael had lymphogranuloma venereum, and...
Jesus, when do I... What is it? 6:45?
We're on 6:45, yeah.
6:45.
Thought you were still shooting. Right. Yeah, I see it.
Metabolic process must be followed by projection of the effects upon the present social situation. As effectively as an imbalance of cells can be stabilized within the individual's body, as in the case of Lindsay Smith, it can also be expanded to encompass all elements of society that exist as obstacles to our economic well-being.
Brings about a breakdown of the autoimmune system, i.e. trigger device, was discovered by Dr. J.H. Harold after extensive research with laboratory animals at Columbia University. Smith's progress has been charted since the allergen was introduced through heroin in 1974. The disease manifested itself in Melbourne late in 1974, and control was established within 6 weeks. He was part of the New York experimental subgroup A2. He was admitted to Beekman Hospital in 1978 with an acute relapse, see side effect A. Symptoms on presentation were extreme malaise and fatigue, profuse sweating, temperature of 106 degrees, notable lymph node enlargement. His relapse is a feature of the autoimmune disease, which is additive.
Our medical problems now are still to a considerable extent environmental in origin. With each important social development, new medical problems seem to arise. Automobile accidents have become a major cause of death. Prosperity, overfeeding, and a sedentary life have heavily increased deaths from coronary disease. Cigarette smoking has made lung cancer the commonest type of malignant disease in men, and it seems that each new technical advance in industry, in industrial chemistry, must be paid for in the early stages by a crop of poisonings. Perhaps the most important segment of disease today is mental illness of various types.
Hospital for Joint Diseases, 123rd and Madison Avenue.
The disease manifested itself in Melbourne late in 1974, and control was established within 6 weeks. He was part of New York experimental subgroup A2. He was admitted to Beekman Hospital in 1978 with an acute relapse, see side effect A. Symptoms and presentation were extreme malaise and fatigue, profuse sweating, temperature of 106 degrees, and notable lymph node enlargement. His relapse is a feature of the autoimmune disease, which is additive, chronic, and progressive. Drastic measures were taken to maintain the existence of the patient, i.e. disease state. Control of this acute state affected by manipulation of maintenance drug therapy, cortisone, increased to 30 milligrams.
So the cortisone is essential?
Yeah, without cortisone, you lose the subject.
If you lose the patient, you lose the disease.
Yeah.
And what side effects are there?
Side effects are A, lowered resistance to infection, B, excess fat deposition, C, extreme alteration of mood, D, hypertension and electrolyte imbalance, E, complete dependence on artificial hormones. Control the subject medically successful. Minimal psychological success. No political success as yet. That's it.
No.
Lindsay.
G'day, Tim.
How are you?
Not bad.
What did they say?
The latest theory is about malaria that I picked up in India in 75 or something.
You got malaria?
No, I don't know if I've got malaria. It's just that's what they're thinking about. It's been syphilis, pneumonia, septicemia, and now the latest theory is malaria. That seems to be a pretty sane kind of idea. They're going to do tests, more tests.
So you've got no idea when you're going to get out or anything?
No idea. I'm just going to be here for a few weeks, you know.
Okay. That's okay.
But I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah, just walk past.
I don't want to be there.
Sure, no, don't
That's
worry.
all right.
You won't get a chance to wreck me.
But I feel pretty good, actually. My temperature's down. I'm feeling better than I felt in about 3 weeks. How are you?
Okay, I think.
Yeah? Been doing any
I want to
film?
get this stuff out so that it sort of like
Yeah, okay.
comes in, but you should have...
You want to get what out so it comes in? What's this mean? I want to get it out. I want to tell you something, Tim, about this whole situation, you know?
Can you speak up a bit, Linz?
Well, the whole scene's changed, you know? I've started moving away from junk, and it was like everything had gone dark recently. I felt dead inside. I was taking the weight of the whole circle. I'd been living in the heart of the mystery, and without it I was nothing. I started to feel your weight. At times you all seemed like caricatures of my days on junk, and yet I was tied to you. I watched the circle close around me. You'd made me the centre of your lives. You began to suffocate me. The others back home couldn't accept the change in me.
What, in Melbourne?
The people in Melbourne. They wanted me to live in the past. They'd magnified my smallest delusions. They wanted to play my role. And outside, the revolution was shaking the city. Can you imagine how I felt as I watched it spreading among you? And you didn't even understand. It was so fine, so slender, a delicate network of threads which tied us all together. I watched my slightest gestures become stylized by you. I listened to strangely familiar accents in your voices. You expressed the pattern which had nourished me. I gave you the very best in me, and you consumed it like the bread and wine at the Last Supper. It was gone, and the weight came crashing down.
Oh, shit.
And at the worst, I think I'm just going to get up out of this hospital bed and run downtown and pack my bags and get on the 747 and get off the plane at Essendon or Tullamarine or wherever it is and just go straight down to Ocean Grove and get on the beach and just stay out there and forget about it all. But I know I can't, you know, I've got to be in there, you know, like, and probably I will be too, you know, I mean, I'll be in there, but
Jenny?
Birth
Birth on the Jenny?
Maybe I can get a glass of water. I don't know. Look. Old man has malaria. Yeah. That guy's going crazy. Keep him down.
the thing I'm most obsessed about is these swollen glands here, you know. They've been swollen for about 3 weeks now and they just won't go down. They're lymph glands or something, you know, and the doctors have been prodding them and poking at them, you know. There's absolutely nothing else wrong with this, you know. This is quite normal here.
But do you get that if you have malaria, though?
No, this is something else altogether, totally different, like lymphoglobulonum venereum, some exotic tropical venereal disease. But I don't have any, you know, I don't even believe that. But it's been fascinating me for the last 2 weeks. But I've got to catch Cleopatra on TV now, so so I tune in here.
So-called friends.
General Hospital.
Denise's father lives there, of course.
This is really, yeah. This might be Cleopatra. No, this is Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Don Siegel. Cartoons. Cleopatra.
Political, economical and social institutions are crumbling. The social structure, having become uninhabitable, is hindering, even preventing the development of the seeds which are being propagated within its damaged walls. Political, economic and social institutions are crumbling. The social structure, having become uninhabitable, is hindering, even preventing the development of the seeds which are being propagated within its damaged walls.
Until recently, medicine attempted to enhance what occurs in nature. It fostered the tendencies of wounds to heal, of blood to clot, and of bacteria to be overcome by natural immunity. Now medicine tries to engineer the dreams of reason.
Okay then, comrade. So keep together, and I'll keep in touch with you. Yeah. Okay, man. Okay. Ciao.
We all know people who have a vast fund of information about imperialism and revolution, who have studied Marx and Mao, whose minds are a veritable file index of quotations, who can see with great sophistication and clarity the urgent need to overthrow the present structure, and yet whose lives are curiously unchanged by all this knowledge. They seem, as it were, unrelated to it. I have therefore come to think that intellectual knowledge is both important and can be a trap, for knowing about can very easily become a substitute for action.
Yeah, what is it?
Gate 12. We're going out towards Gate 12 because there might be a chance of a snack up there or something like that.
The tendencies of wounds to heal, of blood to clot, and of bacteria to be overcome by natural immunity. Now medicine tries to engineer the dreams of reason.
The government resists. It is savage in its repressions. But though formerly persecution killed the energy of the oppressed, now in periods of excitement it produces the opposite result. It provokes new acts of revolt, individual and collective. It drives the rebels to heroism, and in rapid succession these acts spread, become general and develop. The Revolutionary Party is strengthened by elements which up to this time were hostile or indifferent to it. The general disintegration penetrates into the government, the ruling classes.
Dreamers of the absolute thing as soon as...
I'll send you a script of the Dreamers of the
Yeah, and any other...
On the plane now, and I'll fly back. I'll be back there in Melbourne in about 30 hours, I guess, and I'll get off the plane. I'm going to go straight down to the beach for a while and just spend a little bit of time down at Ocean Grove on the beach there, thinking it all through and stuff, and then I'll go back to Melbourne and start talking to Phil about the Dreamers of the Absolute project and how we're going to stage that and how we're going to incorporate the filming and what's been going on here, and I'll probably buy a Super 8 camera and start shooting a bit of stuff anyway. Well, you know,
Super 8?
Yeah, well, you know, maybe...
Until recently, medicine attempted to enhance what occurs in nature. It fostered the tendencies of wounds to heal, of blood to clot, and of bacteria to be overcome by natural immunity. Now medicine tries to engineer the dreams of reason.
The government resists. It is savage in its repressions. But though formerly persecution killed the energy of the oppressed, now in periods of excitement it produces the opposite result. Health is simply an everyday word that is used to designate the intensity with which individuals cope with their internal states and their environmental conditions. In Homo sapiens, healthy is an adjective that qualifies ethical and political actions.
Dr. J. House, 5160. Mr. Wolf, 5788. Mr. Wolf, 5788.